on Christmas week. It's Monday. Yes, sir. And I don't know, man. Okay, we're gonna go a little. This might be a dangerous move because I gotta get over to the St. Clair. I can't go straight here. Okay, we got a break right there. And there's a break right here. Boy, that worked out right. That turned out to be quite the move.
Oh, that was Jack Straw off of their new release Sunday. Never.
And there's the Portland police. I don't know what he's
dark
looking
and
at.
empty.
I saw another motorcycle officer down there. Sitting, I don't know what he was looking for because he wasn't at an actual location that traffic would stop at. He was kind of in he was on Burnside, like a block from the 21st Ave light, which is what you'd think he would be monitoring, because that would be. Here comes the 51, high 51. Can you see that? Well, you know, all the news is around the stupid budget tool, their tool, as they like to call it. The vicious intent to manipulate public opinion. Yeah, you got to hand it to them on one thing, though. It's relatively brilliant move on their part, from a propaganda point of view, which, you know, it's not good when it comes to me. But from a propaganda point of view, it's excellent. Great. Got to hand it to them. Joseph Goebbels would have loved it, man. Here, we'll trick them into thinking this. Get them to think this. Incredible, incredibly masterful propaganda department. And there's, you know, mainstream media carries all of the baloney. They don't ever question any of it. The only time you get a story is when it, you know, it embarrasses an operator error story, or well, actually, that's all they really care about. It's kind of like their signature shit is operations mess ups. They're not interested in actually challenging the TriMet management itself directly, because Joe Rose, and he works for the Oregonian, don't forget. And you know, they're not going to authorize him to attack management, because nobody ever does. You notice that? None of the media ever goes after them. They never look at the management salaries. They never look at the expansion of the management. They always are dealing with operational stuff on their little. And of course, they love the John Hunt thing. But John Hunt soldiers on. I mean, he soldiers on. As well he should. I mean, there's a lot of discussion over there at that Facebook group, too, about John, and, well, he's a drunken this and that. I'm not so upset with John about the drunken part as I am about his exclusion of Chris Day, which I really thought was a horrible thing to do. I mean, the drunken thing, everybody screws up there. I mean, he's not supposed to have that much bad judgment, but, you know, it happens. It's the society that makes it into a major issue. Back years ago, nobody would have cared, but now, with all the hype and all of that, it's, you know, all the basic hysteria, of course, around it, it's turned into a major issue of character or something. It just, to me, it's just an issue of stupidity and letting yourself get caught like that. I mean, he has plenty of money. He could have taken a cab. And there goes our friend Steve. And he's got a completely clear highway, which means he will be on time today. Nothing going on the highway today. Completely empty. But his throwing out Chris Day, that was a little bit more serious as far as I was concerned. That showed an arrogance that I was particularly upset about. wow, would it be nice if there's no traffic? I know there's no PCC, so we don't have anything to deal with there. I think it's actually over up there. I don't think there's anything going on up there. So that will lessen a little bit of the load on 67. And a lot of the riders that go to the college and from the college won't be on that bus, which will obviously make it easier for me. But all things considered, you do have to hand it to John in some ways. He does have his positive points. One of which being, extreme intelligence. I've always respected his obviously high IQ and his ability to manipulate people. I mean, he does have an extremely good political savvy, I guess would be the word. I think he's let us down over the last year, but I still think he can bring us back. I still think it's within his power to do something dynamic to change the paradigm, and I'm not of the persuasion that he should resign, really, and I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I think he's shown dereliction of duty in some ways, but we're so close to the re-election. What he needs to do is give an apology to Chris Day and pay his expenses that dealing with that stuff, because that was his big sin as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, he's still the president of the union, and until further notice, even if you don't respect the man, you should respect the office. And basically, that's where I'm coming from. You respect the position of the union. And I mean, I have a lot of problems with our union. It should be obvious that I have a lot of problems with the way things are done there and the money that they make. And they're basically nothing but another level of bureaucracy for us. I mean, they just file our grievances, that's all. I mean, file the paperwork for us. And I don't even like the way it's set up that you have to be voted on by. I can understand the executive board voting on a member, but bringing it to the membership, it works out fine, but I don't know. I don't like the issue of popularity entering into issues of disciplinary procedure, and it bothers me. If you have a legitimate grievance that should be arbitrated, that should be looked at by an attorney, the union attorney, to decide whether or not this can move forward or not. Does it meet the standard of a successful arbitration? Yes or no? I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to evaluate. I mean, TriMet's required to go through certain procedures and methodologies before they impose discipline. So they must follow those rules. And if it's something that is, I think in my case, for example, where I'm being penalized for off-the-job behavior, it's obviously of serious concern to everybody that reach of this company doesn't go that far into off-the-job behavior. It's just, their reach with me has really compromised a lot of what I do, and I personally feel it's all fairly unconstitutional and unjust. But I have, God damn it, where does the traffic go? I have to work within the context of what we have here. Unfortunately, I mean, I can't. You're stuck with the system that's been set up for us, as dysfunctional as it is. You always hear operators talking about, well, I would go get a lawyer and sue them. Well, you can go get a lawyer and start pouring money into this stuff if you want to, but it is not that cut and dry, believe me. I understand the process here, and unless you have a case of grievous injury, even in my case, I do not have any damages at the hand of the management. None. I have no damages. There's been a lot of psychological torture, but employers have the right to abuse you psychologically. Unfortunately, that's the truth. They have the right to do that. You can't do anything about that, okay, except quit. Unless it becomes clearly destructive and now you have a work comp claim or a disability claim or something. But employers basically have the right to misuse their employees any way they see fit. In my case, it's psychological torture, but I don't actually have any real damage. I've never suffered any actual. You see how? See, this is how I know they're so brilliant up there. They never actually pull the plug on me to do actual discipline. You know, they get to the point where it's, well, you can't do that. Hey, Martin is not there. Of course, he's been around here forever. Maybe he's got some Christmas off. Look at that bus. Look at all the paint chipped on the side of it there. They've never actually damaged me. I've never actually suffered any kind of loss at the hand. Even with all the shit I've gone through there, and it's been a lot, there's never been any damages. Never. So I have no basis to sue except for specific performance. But why bother? You know, that's just a waste of money. That's what you go use the grievance procedure. And now if I win the arbitration, which will probably be in a year, and most likely I won't even be here in a year, although I don't know, I'm not committing to retiring. I think that my job here, I have a lot of fun with it in many ways. I think that the responsibility we have is too much. I think that they've put too much on top of us. They expect too much. I think it's an unsafe job because of the operating conditions that they've created for us. And I think it's almost like a setup to fail. They've almost set up failure for employees such as me, for example, who have all these requirements, have to call the stops, have to operate the lift, have to do all of this, have to have to deal with customers, have to deal with. There's too much to do. Okay, you have too much to do, and it's one of the worst jobs for distractions you can imagine. And the thing is that if you do something wrong, you are now going to be up shit's creek. Okay, they're going to penalize you for it. There's not going to be any. You know, if you look at the patterns of what happens to operators here, if they can blame you, they will. I mean, you're always guilty here unless you can prove your innocence. Okay, if you can prove that you're innocent, they'll let you off. But you're always guilty here unless you can prove and look at these SIP or CSI, whatever you want to call it. There's a presumption of guilt immediately when you get those papers. And they don't even have the courtesy to even do the basic checkout on those things. They just hand them right over to you. It's completely unethical and unconscionable.